All right, we're live on Facebook. Shelly, thank you so much for being with us today, with me, and streaming in. Facebook friends, I want you to meet Shelly. Shelly, you've probably seen Shelly around in the Facebook group because she started coming out with her recovery right away when you first got here. And what we want to do today, Shelly, and this is the first interview of several. There were 20 of you that just went through boot camp. Boot camp is a live experience that accompanies people that are in our Stop the Chaos training. So if you want to get started in our trainings, you start with Stop the Chaos. You start by stopping, and you also can add on boot camp if you want to be with other people and you want to get coaching from us. So Shelly, bring us back to like what was going on in your life when you found me, I guess, on TikTok initially.
Yes, yes, yes. Uh, my life was a mess and my marriage was a mess. My husband was deeply into heavy drinking every single day. On his way home from work, he would pick up beer and probably be drunk by the time he got home. And it just continued to get worse as the evening progressed and was very hateful. The way he spoke to me, and the slightest thing that he would say would trigger me, and I would shoot back. Man, I don't hold back, as everyone already knows. I came in hot to tipping point, but yeah, I would just right back at him and have the most brilliant arguments, and I was so right in everything I said, and just could not understand why he wasn't going, well, you're right, duh, and I just, it was incredible how obvious it was to me and how frustrated and mad I was that he couldn't see what he was doing to me and to our marriage. And it was bad. And I was on the verge of ending the marriage because I couldn't live like that anymore. I was miserable. And we had, it's kind of weird because on the one hand, we had a great marriage and we're very much in love and highly respect and love each other. But when he had been drinking, he was a completely different person. And that person kept showing up more and more and more in our marriage. And I was losing the man that I fell in love with. And so I'm already divorced, and I didn't want to go through that again. I wanted to live the rest of my life with this man, and great man, good man. And just, I didn't know what to do. I felt like there was no hope. He hates AA. He didn't want anything to do with therapy or AA or anything like that. And when we had first gotten married, he had always told me, I will never put alcohol above you. If I need to stop, I'll stop. And that was always my safety blanket. And then right before I joined Tipping Point, in the midst of one of his drunken rages, when I was begging him to stop, he had told me, well, I'm never going to stop. And that crushed me. So I saw how it had progressed. So anyway, one day I was on TikTok scrolling, doom scrolling, and I was very, very depressed and didn't get out of bed much and was just scrolling on TikTok, and up popped Kate Duffy. And never heard of you, didn't know anything about you. And something about it caught my eye. And so I stopped, and you were talking about, alcoholism or addiction. And I wish I knew the exact video that I had seen, and about the families, and that, that there is something you can do. And I just thought, kind of interesting. So I scrolled a few more of your videos and I was like, oh, wow, wait, I've never heard anything like this before. So I just kind of took a deep dive and kept scrolling through a bunch of your videos, and then saw where you had or maybe I went to can't remember if I went to your website or you had mentioned the Facebook group, and I immediately went on the Facebook group and started kind of scrolling through it, looking at posts and things like that, and quickly realized God had led me to see that, and quickly realized, you know what, this is something I need to know. You were describing how we need to be educated about the addiction, and I knew absolutely nothing. I've never been addicted to drugs or alcohol, and I knew nothing about it, and quickly realized, you know what, maybe I need to educate myself here. Anyway, so I got on the Facebook group, and then I heard about, or then I found the guides section at the top of the Facebook. And I was like, oh, look at all these videos of Kate and all these people. And man, I'm telling you, I could not stop. I was just obsessed. I watched as fast as I could. I watched every single one of your TikTok videos, every single one of the videos in the guides section. I went to your YouTube. I mean, just every single thing Tipping Point had to offer, I was gobbling it up and learning so fast. And it was just amazing, amazing. And I was taking notes. And then I decided, I'm a big old cheapskate. I don't want to spend $1 if I don't have to. And but Stop the Chaos was so cheap. And I was like, oh geez, I can do that. And I did I joined it because I thought, over the years, thousands of dollars have gone out to alcohol. Now, we've never paid for rehab or none of that, but just the sheer amount of money that's gone into the alcohol purchases has been thousands of dollars. So I thought, okay, this ain't anywhere near $1,000, so I'm going for it.
Right.
So I did it. Wow.
And so let me just highlight on the other side of that, I can tell when you're watching all the content, especially if you're liking them all, because creators get notifications when somebody likes something and they come in. I'll just open it up, at least on TikTok, so you can see this side. I mean, some people here may be creators, but basically there's um I mean, it's actually not gonna show anything because it's a whole bunch of different people and you
Mm.
probably can't see it because of the glare. But when it's one person liking everything, all you see is Shelly, 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 Shelly. So, and you scroll and it's like Shelly, 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 Shelly. So I'm like, damn, and not exaggerating, not one person has ever watched Shelly wins, everyone who's watching this. Shelly wins for watching literally everything. In fact, there was a day that I was like, God, I wish I could think of a job to give her while she's doing this, of like collecting something. Oh, I know what it was. When TikTok was going down, we thought it was going down. I remember thinking, I wish I could grab the 12 snarky comments, like really strong negative comments that I've gotten, not many, or 5 or 6. I want to grab them at some point because they've taught me how to respond to all reactions to our work, because our work is nuanced. It's a little harsh. It can feel harsh to some people. Anyway, I thought I know who I'm going to ask to do that because she's already watched every single one of them. But to people watching this interview, there is so much free stuff for you right now, and Shelly is can attest to that. And here's where you want to go. I'll just repeat it. TikTok, you watch all the individual videos, which I think are okay. They're not awesome. Some are better than others. Then there's the guide section in the Facebook group. There's probably 50, 60, 70 lives, and that those are better. And then YouTube has a handful of things, but I just want to acknowledge you. You were a shark for information. You were a sponge,
Yeah.
and it was really clear that you were learning along the way. And so you were taking notes, and then you bought the $97 training, which we're adding to as lifetime access. It's a no-brainer.
And I'm still rewatching those
Yeah. Yeah. So talk about the rewatching for a minute. Why do you rewatch something you've already watched?
because the first time you watch it, it's like, oh, wow, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then you watch it again and you're like, whoa, I didn't even catch that.
Yeah.
Or you take more note. And it's like every time you watch it, you catch something that you didn't, and you don't realize that
Right.
you're not catching everything. And as I grow and heal, I see things from a different perspective.
Hmm.
So it's almost like watching it brand new because I now have a completely different perspective than when I first started.
And
So
what I want to point out is that's a mirror to the addict's experience. An
mhm,
alcoholic, we think they're going to quit drinking and then just know all the things they need to know. And it's
right,
not. We go
no,
through stages of change, we go through stages of recovery. And why do I go to meetings 12 years later is because I'm brand new, fresh every time I walk in there because
absolutely.
my perspective is changing all the time. So that's a beautiful example. You read the book more than once. I know
Oh
that
yes. Oh
because
yes.
we
Yes.
get different things as we go.
Oh yes.
So, what were the changes that you started to see, or what changes did you start to make in your own life and with your husband? And what did you see change?
Right. Well, the first thing I started doing was I realized that I've got to put all of my anger and resentment and all of that aside, let that be my responsibility and not put that on him. Obviously, putting it on him did not work. And I knew that in my head, but I didn't know what else to do. So I had to take that and say, okay, that's mine to deal with at a different time. And the first thing I started doing was I would say, when he would come at me in a rude way, is I would just be like, um, we can talk when you haven't been drinking, but I'm not going to have a conversation with you when you've been drinking. I was very careful not to be ugly about it or judgmental about it or anything, just factual.
Matter of
Uh,
fact.
Matter of fact, we're not going to have a discussion if you have alcohol in your system and walk
How did he
away.
react? How did he react to that when you first started doing that?
This isn't alcohol talking, it would make him mad. It would make him mad. Um, but I would walk away. I would set my boundary and I would stick to it no
Mhm.
matter what. No matter what.
No matter, so sometimes when someone's at least for me, I operated a lot of my life. If you got mad at me when I set that boundary, I would like modify because I didn't want you mad at me.
It was hard. I
Yeah.
I am a people pleaser, and ooh, the thought of someone not liking me or being
Right.
mad, oh, it kills my soul.
Right.
But I was doing it for him.
Hmm.
I knew that this would help him and me. See that it's a dual healing,
Yeah.
and I knew that, and I believed it. I believed 100% that what you were doing was different and it felt right. And
Mhm.
so I stuck to it and I wouldn't say anything. I would just continue to repeat, I'm not going to have this conversation while you've been drinking. And I would repeat that however many times I needed to. And eventually he got the message. And he would just go really quiet. And it got to the point where I didn't really have to say very much at all other than we can talk about this another time. And he knew. And he got more and more quiet
Mhm.
and less of the outbursts because I wasn't having outbursts anymore. And slowly but surely, well, and then there were the we would have the conversation of, he'd be like, well, what are you doing? He would see that I was on watching videos and stuff like that. What are you doing? And I told him, I was always honest. I said, I've joined a group for loved ones of addiction. And he just kind of, whatever. And he would say, and then, another time he'd be like, you're obsessed with that, which I was because I was watching 1,000 videos. But he was like, you're just obsessed with that. Is that some kind of cult? Just very poo poo on it. And I was like, no, not at all. And I would say, it's a very loving way and it's healing me of the things that have hurt me. And it's teaching me better ways to deal and, all this and that. I was very honest. And so then at one point he thought it was a cult. And then he said several times so what they're telling you, you need to leave me, right? And I
Mhm.
was like, actually, no, just the opposite. And, everything I said, I could tell it really surprised him, but
Mhm.
he hated you and hated this group. Um, and then one day when I felt the time was right, I asked him, I said, can I share with you some of the things I've learned? And he was like, yeah. And so I started sharing about what I had learned about the disease of alcoholism and sharing how I now understood that he can't help it and that it's not his fault, and how it was actually a, a what was, I can't remember the word I used, but I said, kudos to you for finding something to deal with the horrific things you've been through. And I said, that's actually very impressive. I said, a lot of people would be suicidal or wind up in jail or blah, blah, blah. And I said, you're very smart. You figured out a way to deal with all this shit. And, you could just see his eyes going, what in the world? He was shocked. And I was like, yeah. And anyways, I wish I had it all on video because it's
No, I know, but
just, the journey's been amazing.
what we do have are all your posts, right? So, because we like to tell the story, and that's why we're grateful that you want to share this. When you very first found us and you were so mad, did you ever think that you'd be in an interview sharing your journey, looking so healthy and right?
Never in a million years. I My best hope was that I would be able to tolerate it to a point that I wouldn't want to divorce.
Yeah, and let me interject here for a minute, and then we'll go back to your story. What I want, because I want you to tell everybody kind of what your husband do as a result of these changes you were making. And I want to point out that not one situation here ever looks exactly the same, right? Of all the people that have recovered at tipping point. And the most important thing is, if you're in a partnership, is that a lot of times people come to us and they're like, well, I don't even know if I want to stay in this marriage. It's like, well, okay. So come in and recover and help them in a
Mhm.
healthy way. And that will help you know if you want to stay or not. What if
Absolutely.
that's the only outcome you get, instead of leaving with like, just going to leave in a huff? What if you left with clarity and conviction and kindness
Absolutely.
because you were so clear? So, every single journey is different, but every single person that goes through it is glad they did,
Oh,
for
100%.
whatever results they get. Yeah. So
Hmm.
I love that you said kudos to you for finding a solution. So let's just give that to everyone listening. If your loved one's drinking, try that out, not as a trick, not with your intent, the intention of like, I'm going to say this to get a result.
Right.
Try to come from a place of understanding the alcohol as their
Mhm.
solution to something that they yet don't know how to solve.
Yeah,
So
that's
that got him
important.
thinking. That
Yeah,
got him thinking.
and that's important. I was genuine in everything that I said because I understood it now and I feel that way. I'm impressed that you found a way to deal with all the just the junk that you have gone through. It's like, man, and you're not, and I would say things like, and you're not in a institution from all of this that you've
He went through a lot. Yeah.
oh yeah, and
Without sharing his story, you just
mm,
have said before, he's gone through a lot.
so much. And so what I did was so I was sharing with him, what the knowledge that I had gained and how it had given me a deeper appreciation for him as a man, a deeper appreciation for um, his ability to deal with the things that have come up in life, and compassion. It gave me compassion for him, and he felt that. And like I said, I was 100% genuine. I wasn't just, oh, I'm going to say X, Y, and Z because I think this will get him. It wasn't that at all. It was very genuine. And and I just shared that. And I also shared, we had a night where I shared what his drinking, how it had affected me
Mm.
and what it had done to me. And by that point, he was in a place to hear it. And
Ah, very
uh,
important.
yeah, because I did this in stages. I didn't throw it all on, at once. And
You probably wanted to at times.
oh my God, I wanted to sit him down because that's me. I share everything. I have no
Yep.
secrets. I'm not shy. I wanted to sit down and just throw up on him everything that I was learning. And but I knew better because of the teachings. Okay, so I did it in steps, and it was received. Um, not there was not a, oh my God, you're right, I'm putting it down, I'm healed. No, it doesn't work like that. And I know that there are people out there whose loved ones are still struggling, and and it breaks my heart. But like you said, even if your loved one never gets sober, even if my husband had never decided to get sober, just the just the relief that I feel now knowing what I know. And I now know what to do if he picks it back up, which I understand is probable. And I'm ready. I'm ready. And I'm not
So
saying
he did stop drinking during this journey that you're
he
describing.
did. He did. And it was very interesting. It was a God thing because in the midst of it, he lost his job. And that gave me the courage to say, you cannot spend one dime on alcohol because now,
No money's coming in.
right. So that was a God thing. And because of that, he got a few days under his belt and he kind of came to me and said, well, I sure feel better. I was like, in what way? And he was like, well, my stomach's not all messed up. Anyway, he started here recognizing the difference in him.
I want to
And
point something out that you did. When you say in what way, you're allowing them to experience their experience instead of, wouldn't it be so easy to go, well, duh,
oh,
because now you're not. So you're coming from a place of curiosity and you're firing yourself from the role of getting them to do a certain thing. Yeah. So you're giving
yeah.
them bandwidth to actually be able to see
Yes,
a
yes.
different example.
And that's part of the teaching. And I know that's really, that's I love how Jeff Shearer is always saying, be curious, be curious. And all
Right.
behaviors have meaning. And all, I've just learned so much. It's but yeah, I wanted, so how? And so I would just, and let him talk. And say, that is amazing. Wow. And then I would say, you know what? I remember reading now something about that. And I would say, yeah, that is absolutely an effect of when you stop drinking. And so, and just leave it at that.
Mm.
So yeah, I cheered him on, but I tried very hard not to. I wanted it to be his journey and I wanted to be supportive, but I knew if I was like on him all the time about it, that it would backfire. So I tried very hard to back off, let him have his journey, support it, be encouraging when he said something. Um, and there were 3 times, that's been about 3 months ago, um, where he was with someone else and they gave him a beer. And he immediately came home and told me about it. And, and at first he said, it didn't even taste good. He said, but I drank it. And he, I don't know if he still thinks this or not because I try not to probe too much, but um, did not think that he would never ever have to drink or not be able to ever drink again for the rest of his life. And I'm not sure if he still feels that way or not. And you know what? It really doesn't matter
Mm.
because this is a journey and he's learning and I'm learning and that's
So it
okay.
really doesn't matter as the wife of an alcoholic is your recovery. That is speaking volumes to your recovery. When we think it does matter, we are all in the wrong space. We are trying to control something that actually can't be controlled. So that's, I mean, there's so many things you're saying. That's why I'm interrupting you. I got to point out
Go,
the
go.
recovery moments. There's so many of them.
Yeah. And this hasn't been a smooth recovery. Hell, sorry. Go back and look at my post. You'll see me go have breakdowns and oh my God and anger and yeah, I'm not sitting up here like, man, I got this. Hey,
Right.
no, I still, you'll see me post stuff where I'm like, oh, he did this or he said this, and I just, what am I going to do? No,
We're
I don't have
finding our
the answers.
way.
I don't have
Yeah.
the answers. I'm on a journey, but let me tell you, this is, this is the only thing I have ever come across that just makes sense and works. And like I said, even if he never gets healed, it's worth every ounce of energy I've put into this because of what it's done for me.
Mm. So you took the Stop the Chaos training. Did you enroll in Stop the Chaos training the 97 before boot camp, right? A bit before.
I'm
I,
not sure.
yeah.
I was going, either I did or I was going to, and then I
Yep.
can't remember how it happened,
Yep.
but yeah.
And then boot camp, what was boot camp like for you? How was that?
Well,
How did that help your learning with the
it
trainings?
was so amazing because it's a small group. It's not this huge group where you get lost in. It
Mm,
is a small group. It feels like it's it feels like one-on-one counseling. It's like going to therapy and going and it's just so much. And to hear from not only you, but Jeff and Mike and Corey and Tommy Rosen and all of these people, it's just you get so much expert
mhm,
opinions and advice, and you get to talk to these people. It's like, man, do you know how expensive that would be if I went to each
mhm,
of these people individually
mhm,
and got to sit there and talk to them? Oh my
mhm,
God, there's no way.
mhm.
So it's just incredible. The people that are on your team and involved in this, and the access that we had to them was
Love that.
just incredible. And the videos, the pre-recorded videos were just dynamic. And again, watching them more than once, oh, it's just a lifeline. It is a absolute lifeline, and it's like a PhD level of education.
Mm.
Just amazing.
It's the playbook for, I love some of your words. It's the playbook. Someone told me that Dear Family is the playbook for the family of like what it's like to be doing the things we're doing. And now, were there times where your husband, did he start listening to anything? Was he like, how did he make that shift to what we were doing was actually helpful? Or has he
Mhm.
indicated
Oh
to
yeah.
you? Yeah.
Oh yeah. He told me. He said he has told me. Number one, he said that Kate is brilliant. He said she's
Mhm.
brilliant, and he said I never would have stopped drinking had you not joined that group. He
Wow.
said because I saw. He said because you started doing things differently. Me. He said you started doing things differently. You started changing, and he said that was just brilliant. And he just
Wow.
straight up he goes, "That's brilliant."
And
And
he
he,
feels supported now. He feels
yeah.
loved. He feels connected. And yeah, please invite him to. So you're in our long-term program now, our 6-month program, which is always an option for people finishing boot camp. You could invite him to the panel when there's a speaker. Um,
Yeah, I need to do that. I need to
yeah,
do.
because first of all, it's always fun to meet people's
Mhm.
loved ones. You don't,
Yeah.
he doesn't have to come and wait for the right time. And
Right, right, right.
but he can watch those recordings too because he's not going to AA right now or
Mhm.
recovery. Yeah, so that will just sort of sprinkle
Mhm.
because he just needs to know he's not alone. And
Right.
so what happened is at first he was scared.
Mhm.
So what you're describing is just so much of how it works. You're literally describing the path of unfolding. And
Mhm.
what I'm going for is I'm like, hey, your alcoholic's too sick to find me. So you come on in and do these things. Now, is it a guarantee that they'll change? Absolutely not. And like you said, his journey is going to be ever unfolding. It's a forever journey. It never ends. We have to repeat that all the time because we wish it would
Mhm.
end. Did you
Mhm.
ever have a point in time or catch yourself where you think, I just need to finish this program and then I'll have checked this off and we'll all be done? Like, do you have that moment where you think, or have you really accepted it's a lifelong journey?
No, I really believe it's a lifelong journey.
Yeah.
I Yeah, no. I
Okay.
never had the feeling of, oh, if I just do that. No, because
Okay.
it's number one, it's more nuanced, as
Yeah.
you say all the time. That is absolutely correct.
Right.
And life is ever changing. There's things coming up in life all the time. I lost my mother less than 2 months ago. Um, Things occur in life that you still need support, and you still need to learn how to handle them in the best way.
Right.
So yeah, no, I'm a lifelong supporter of
Mhm.
learning.
So if anyone is watching this and you catch yourself admitting, Yeah, I'm definitely saying as soon as I take Stop the Chaos, I'll know all the things I need to know about
No.
addiction and I'll be done. I want people to not feel bad if they feel that, because what that is that's just an indicator that you want to move through the stages of full acceptance
Mhm,
that
mhm,
it's a lifelong journey. And Shelly's showed up to calls crying. She showed up to calls in crisis. There was one night we had a coaching call, and right then something was going down, and you got real time support from people, and that's recovery.
mhm,
Recovery is not looking all pretty and having it all
mhm,
fixed.
mhm.
Recovery is chopping the wood and carrying the water. And
Yeah,
so,
that was an amazing night for me. I mean,
yeah, right?
crisis happened in the middle of
Oh,
our meeting, and
coaching
I
call.
had all of you there with me to
Yeah,
walk me through. Oh my
right.
God,
I know.
invaluable.
I know. And
That was
yeah,
incredible.
it's so true. So, what would you say to anyone who's considering? And let me just say again, sometimes it's confusing here. Stop the Chaos is a video train, is a whole bunch of video trainings. It's $97. It's the first thing you should do. Well, absolutely, you got to get the book,
Mm.
but go get the Stop the Chaos training because you have lifetime access. And then starting in April, we're going to run another boot camp. What would you say to people who are considering purchasing Stop the Chaos video trainings and or joining the live experience for boot camp if they're not sure? What would you say to them?
Go for it. There's no way you will regret it.
Mm,
If you commit to learning, if you commit to admitting that you don't have all the answers and being willing to try things differently,
mm,
if you really, really want to learn and love your loved one in the very best way possible, you have nothing to lose.
mm,
You have nothing to lose. And you will, if you apply yourself to this, you will 100% change your life and for the better and yourself for the better. You will learn, you will grow. You'll never be the same again.
mm.
You won't.
And can you come up with when people ask the question, how much time is required of me? I'm sure there were different stages for you when you're watching the recordings versus coming to live things. If you had to guess, because other people will answer this too, and we'll kind of take an average. How much time do you think was required of you a week when you, or is required of you a week to work this program?
That's a good question. Um, and you could at a minimum. Um, I'm trying to remember how many meetings we have, if including the meetings. Um, Probably a minimum of 3 or 4 hours.
Three
Yeah.
or 4 hours a week.
Um,
I'm opening up the live on my,
Now that's a big fat guess.
I want to see. Yeah, it's fine. I want to see if anybody has any questions that's here actually live
Okay. Yeah.
um that we can answer before we hop off. It says 13 comments, but I only can see 4.
Mhm.
Um yeah, and we'll ask other people this same question. And by the way, if you're watching this video and you were in boot camp and Stop the Chaos, drop what you think was the amount of time you put into it. And it probably varies, but I think that's about right because there were 3 live things you could do a week for an hour and a
Yeah.
half each, and
Yeah.
then watching some things on your own.
Yeah.
Now, how
And,
much time
and
did the pro go ahead.
I was going to say, and that is a minimum. I
Yeah,
put in way more hours
I
than
know you did.
that.
I'm telling you, I want to light a fire under anyone watching this interview to go do what Shelly did. Watch everything. And the way we know you're watching it is when you're liking them on TikTok and on Facebook, liking and commenting. First of all, liking and commenting helps boost it for other people to see. The other thing it does is it gives you sort of like a checkbox, right? Like check off your homework.
And
It
that feels
also
good.
shows us like it lights me up. I mean, it's like this cycle. We get each other really pumped up.
Yeah.
Um, anything you want to close with, like that we didn't talk about that you want to talk about before we wrap up?
You know, I really can't think of anything specific. I just wish that everyone would watch everything and do everything you can. It's like I wish I could spoon feed this to everyone. Um, but unfortunately, you got to do it yourself and you got to put in the work. So if you're expecting to not have to do any work and be spoon fed everything,
Mm.
it'll still probably help you. But if you want a dynamic change in your life, you got to work it. You got to do it. You
That's
got
a
to
really
put in the
good
work.
point. When I'm doing a live on TikTok, or even mostly TikTok, because I the comments are just so real time, and a little bit on Facebook, or if I'm on a Zoom meeting with someone that just found us, I can tell when people are, I call it, they're up on the ceiling and they literally are like, tell me the thing.
Yes.
And I give teaching and they're like, okay, and then what's the thing? But the way I describe it is we're not landed, we're not in our body, we're in fight or flight. And what I've
Mhm.
learned is we're actually offline in our brain as well.
Mhm.
And so if that is you, no shade, it's just
Mm-mm.
the stage you're in. What you
Yes.
need to do is you need to work on calming your nervous system down. And we do have services for that. You can hire us one-on-one to come in and
Mhm.
do the whole thing and get
Yeah.
your loved one out of the house and in treatment. It's a far bigger investment financially, but we will do it for you. This program is for people, and you're really making a great distinction here. You got to want to put a little effort in, but the payoff is enormous.
And
I did
and I
find
will
a,
say,
yeah, go ahead.
I will say, if at first, yeah, I remember going online and I wanted, just tell me what to say. Tell me, what am I
Yeah.
supposed to say? Yeah, I wanted the answers and I wanted you to tell me exactly what am I supposed to do. And so I get that. Absolutely. But the nice thing is, because you didn't, it made me figure out and learn even more, even more. And I
Right.
will say this, when you were talking about, yes, you can go in and do all the things. Kate can do all of that. Her and her team can do it all for you. I liken that to, I'm a horse person.
Mm.
I could send my horse off for training to the best trainer in the world, and she will be perfect. When she comes back to me and I start riding her, if I haven't learned anything, I'm just going to mess her up.
You got to undo all that.
I'm going to undo all that great work.
Yeah.
Do the work.
Yeah.
Please,
Mhm.
please, for yourself and your loved one, just do the work. Just
Mm.
please do it.
Yeah. It's about loving ourselves enough to do the work. It's about caring about ourselves enough to do the work. It's the same for the alcoholic. They've lost the ability to care for themselves.
Mhm.
Let me just take a quick look. Oh, there's so much love for you here. So when you
Oh,
get off this live, you're going to have to go back.
oh, y'all are going to make me cry.
Yeah, well, you are going to cry.
I love this group. It is the most caring and loving group. And put your stuff on Facebook, y'all. This is the most amazing group of people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love all of them. I love all of them so much.
Yeah, we're so held in this community. And I do want to make a comment. You talked about it being a small group. There's a reason it's a small group. And we're testing out what size group can we support. That's why we're not growing quickly as a company. And you made a comment when you said, oh gosh, I just lost it. But a minute ago, you were talking about, I don't know, I totally lost it.
Hate it when that
Um,
happens.
yeah, no, hang on though. It was something about, oh, the people that show up here and they're like, give me the answer, give me the answer. That frenetic kind of energy, when I was first starting out, I was like, I can't hold 20 of those because I am a people pleaser and I used to think I had to solve it for you. And so I had to do my own work alongside of all the people in the last 10 years here so that I could hold a bigger space. And it's okay, by the way, if you show up like that, but I'm going to meet you and only I'm going to meet you at the table, not on the table. I used to want to go on the table over the other side and hand you
Yeah.
the meal because I want you to have this too. I showed up very much like you did for your loved one.
Right, right.
Right. And so this journey has been organic for all of us. And it's been about all of us learning to settle in. None of us are responsible for any of us. We're all responsible for ourselves.
Right.
And so now we've got the training finally that we can give you to say, no, you go do this. And when you watch these 6 trainings, then you come back and you talk to me and because you're going to be settled in.
Yeah.
So I would say the first investment that I really want people to make of time is 6 hours. I want you to watch Stop the Chaos 1.0 in its entirety, all 6 sessions, 4 trainings and 2 bonus sessions. Then you book a call with me and you'll be settled in and you'll know what I mean. But go do that. You want your loved one to go to 6 AA meetings. This is your equivalent of going to 6 meetings. Then we can talk, right?
Absolutely. And I love that too. I love that you say that. It's like you want your loved one to do all this work. Guess what, honey? You need to do it too.
We're part of the problem. It's a family disease. And when you treat the family disease, the person with the illness has a far greater chance. Shelly, you're such a badass. I
You're
can't wait for you to go read those comments and love
all
yourself
right.
up.
Me
Um,
too. Me
and I'm
too.
so grateful for you. Thank you for your willingness to share your story with people.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Um,
I
yeah,
just hope and pray that I just hope and pray for everyone to do the work and for their loved ones and them to get some healing.
yeah.
That's what I want. I
We're
love all
worth
of y'all so
we're
much.
worth it, right? We're worth it.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. We'll
Thank you
see
very much, Kate. I
you
owe
on the
you so much.
inside. All right.
Love y'all.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.